We're on the worksheet called AutoFill in our workbook 02 Entering Data. We want to put in months at the top here. Now, the AutoFill feature allows us to quickly put in monthly entries and day of the week entries, as well as a few others. So let's imagine I need January here. I'll type it. And even before I complete the entry, I can point to the lower right-hand corner of that cell. That's called the fill handle. The mouse pointer changes to a thin plus. And when it does, I'll hold down the left mouse button and drag rightward. Notice how the pop-up tip below suggests what is about to go into these cells. March, April, May, June, and then let go of the right mouse button and we have all those entries there. Later, of course, we would like to, and we probably will, align them on the right. Now, although we're not going to be putting this in our actual worksheet, I'm going to go down to cell A6 and point out a few aspects of this. First of all, you can start with any month. Maybe I'll start with March. Now, I usually wouldn't start there, but this time I'm going to drag downward. And we see what's about to happen, April, May, June. If I drag farther, eventually we'll come to December. It'll just start all over again, like this. As you drag downward or rightward, if your beginning entry is one of the months, you will automatically get next month, and next month, and so on. Occasionally, but rarely, you might drag upward. And again, we can start with any month. Here's April. This time I'll drag upward. This is going to go backward chronologically. March and February, we're going to see there. Leftward would do the same as that too. We can also use abbreviations, but they must be 3 letters. So typically, again, most often you'd probably start with January, but a simple JAN will get us started. Drag from the corner, just a few cells, you see what's happening. Dragging rightward, the same kind of thing would happen this way, of course. I really don't want to keep this data here. I could press Control-Z. That means undo. So I'd like to undo my last action and the one before it. So I will press Control-Z repeatedly here to get rid of all this data. We also could have highlighted the data and pressed Delete. This works for days of the week as well. Full spellings or 3-letter abbreviations. Never start with TUES or THUR. You'll simply get a repeat. So we see what's happening. If we were going to use this here somehow, we would make column D wider. We'll get to that later. Drag downward, you'd expect to see the same thing. If you do happen to start with one of these 4-letter abbreviations, remember that will not work. You'll simply get a repeat of this, like that. Now, not only do we have these, we also have a few others. I'll just point out a few, then we'll get rid of this data. Anytime you put in the letter Q, followed by or preceded by the numbers 1, 2, 3, or 4, Excel assumes you're talking about or about to enter quarters. And so if we drag a bit too far here from the corner, it'll simply start over. That also works with QTR. It also works with the word quarter. And in nearly any combination with the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, we see some more of these. And you can also do these with dates and with times. If you were to put in a date, here's a date, 7/8/15, enter. After putting in a date, drag from the lower right-hand corner, drag down. You'll automatically get the next day. If we keep dragging, we'll get the next day, next day, next day. Drag upward, we'll get the previous day. And there are other techniques here we can use too with AutoFill. So take advantage of it. It's handy, it's fast. So we've seen some examples of how AutoFill quickly allows us to put in monthly entries and, where needed, day of the week entries or even dates and quarters when appropriate.